In this video, we look at Sirsasana, headstand. There are loads of benefits of practicing headstand, which vary from physical benefits of bringing more blood into the upper part of your body, into the face, more oxygen into the tissues and into the brain as well. There are also mental benefits of a change of perspective and a shift in the way you maybe look at things. But there are risks associated with this posture. So please, if you have any neck injuries or shoulder or upper spine injuries, do not attempt this pose. So we will start by looking at a couple of postures that you can do to prepare for your headstand. We will look at some simpler variations and a variation against the wall, which is great for those of you who fear falling, which is a very, very reasonable fear to have. We will also look at more advanced progressions of the postures for those of you who can hold the posture and can then move into different variations. If you are practicing against the wall, you can now take your mat against the wall. If you are not practicing against the wall, please make sure you have a good escape route, meaning that if you roll from your headstand and you fall, you're not going to hurt yourself hitting something in front of you. So a good preparation pose is forearm plank, which is also the foundation of your headstand. So I want you to start by holding on to your elbows with the two hands, measuring the distance. So right hand wraps the opposite elbow, left hand the opposite elbow, and then you interlace the fingers and create almost like a triangle shape. Now, the elbows might want to splay out to the sides. I want you to resist this temptation, and if you need to come back to this, measure, hold on to the hands, make sure the elbows stay where they're meant to stay. So they're meant to be exactly underneath your shoulders. From here, extend one leg back and then the other. So this is your forearm plank. You're looking forwards, your shoulders are forwards, your heels are reaching back, and the center of the body is nice and strong. Belly button pulls in and up, away from your top. The shoulder blades are broad, and you're pressing the floor away with the forearms. Now this is critical. It's something that you really need to learn before even attempting to go upside down. This action of pressing down with the forearms into the ground is really essential. Because even though we call this position headstand, what it really is most of the pressure goes into your forearms. Your shoulders need to do a lot of work, and there is little pressure into your head. So when you need to come down, take a rest. Maybe take a brief child's pose. And then come back one more time into your forearm plank. Now, you can hold this really as long as you can hold it. So aiming for maybe 30 seconds at the beginning and eventually working up to a minute. You can get somebody to check your alignment, making sure that you're in one long line. Shoulders in line with hips. We're not piking up. We're drawing the shoulders forwards. And if you use the gaze as well to look forwards, that will also help keeping a better alignment. Your legs are strong. Your forearms are really pressing the floor away. Just another couple of breaths if you can. And with headstand, you will need a lot of patience. It's a journey. It's not something that will happen straight away. The first time you try it, it's very unlikely that it will happen. So keep working on your forearm plank. If you can, do this every single day. Once you're comfortable with your forearm plank, you will move from this position into Dolphin Pose. So you'll walk the feet in as if you were doing downward facing dog with the forearms to the ground. Release the head back, look between your 2 feet. And again, you want to press the forearms into the floor and lift up and away with the shoulders so that rather than sinking down and dropping the weight down, we're lifting up. This is exactly one of the actions that you will need to think about when your head will be down and your legs will be up. Again, hold Dolphin for 5 to 10 breaths. And then come down and rest whenever you need to. Child's pose is a good rest in between. So if you're new to headstand, maybe dolphin and forearm plank are what you're going to start to work on every single day. And then eventually, you will start by finding a shorter dolphin pose. Now this might be accessible if your hamstrings are quite open. If they are tight, it will be more difficult. But the benefit of walking into a shorter dolphin pose is that the hips will start to become more aligned with the shoulders. And when they arrive into the right place, then you are in a better place to be able to come up gently without jumping. Jumping into headstand is really not a good idea. So from your dolphin pose, you'll start to walk the feet as close in as you can. You'll drop the head to the ground. And maybe this is where you stay for a few breaths. Keep pressing the forearms down. Keep lifting the shoulders away. And you stay here and hold this. You hold it 5 breaths, 10 breaths, as long as you can. When you need to come down, child's pose. Okay, so now into the headstand. So what part of your head are you going to place onto the ground? So one good thing that you could do to find out what part of the head should be on the ground is to take your hand, take the heel of the hand, place it right into the space between the 2 eyebrows, and then see where your middle finger lands. That spot where the middle finger lands is the part of the head that you will be placing on the ground. A lot of the times when people start doing headstand, they place the wrong part of the head onto the floor, and that really doesn't give you a good alignment. It's not the best idea for your neck, but it also doesn't give you a solid foundation to then be able to balance the entire body weight just on your forearms and just on your head. So let's try that. Forearms down. We're coming to dolphin, and then just practice placing the head down. Feel that spot where your middle finger was arriving, place it to the ground. Press with the forearms down and stay as long as you can. You walk the feet in. Good. When you feel strong here and you're pressing the floor away with the forearms, take one knee, hug it into the chest. One heel moves to the buttocks, and you stay 5-10 breaths. Switch and repeat on the other side. And then drop it down and rest. So all of them are really good drills that you can do in preparation of your headstand. If you feel that you're ready now, using the wall is a good idea for what I think. Other teachers might think that it's actually not a great idea because it doesn't teach you how to fall. Now, I'm very afraid of falling, and the way I learned my headstand was against the wall. And I have to say it was hard to come away from the wall. And I had to learn to practice my headstand out in the garden or on the beach so that I knew if I was rolling and falling, then the landing was soft. So that's how I learned it. It's entirely up to you. If you're not afraid of falling, then go for it. Tuck the chin to the chest and roll forwards. That's how you safely fall from your headstand. But let's try not to. So take your mat against the wall. So before we go into a headstand, I want you to remember that it's super important to take it step by step. Rushing is really not a good idea when it comes to going upside down and putting the body weight onto your head. Okay? So step by step, no rush. I remind you that this process for me took me years. So it's not something that for a lot of people comes straight away. Be patient. That's what you definitely need for your practice of headstand. So you'll position yourself close to the wall. I want you to make sure that you're not totally against the wall because this will actually work against you. So it will not give you space to then be able to lift up. And the moment you touch the wall, you'll feel that you're lacking that space. So a couple of hands distance away from the wall, and that will be still very safe. So when you go up, if you feel that you're losing your balance, your leg will touch the wall, and then you'll be safe and you'll come down. So let's start by finding a solid base. Hold on to the opposite elbows, interlace the fingers, and you can stay with this position, fingers interlaced. I quite like to point my index finger and thumb, but it's entirely up to you. Remember that part of the head that you're going to place to the ground. And now go ahead and place it down. Lift up into your dolphin pose and start to walk the feet in as close to the face as you can. This is super, super important. So keep walking forwards and you will feel that the hips now are coming on top of the shoulders. And if they're not there yet, what it will mean is that you want to continue to open your hamstrings with other stretches so that eventually you will walk the feet in a little closer to the face, and that will make it easier for you to lift. Press the forearms down, take one knee into the chest, then start to tilt the body weight back so you're rocking and lifting up onto the big toe of your left foot. Eventually you'll feel that if you press the forearms down, that other foot will lift off the ground. I want you to stop here with the two knees tacked into your chest. Press the forearms down actively so the body weight doesn't just collapse onto the hand. Stay a few breaths. Squeeze the legs together. And then drop down and take a rest. So that is the beginning. If you can stay 3 to 5 breaths with the knees tucked in, working on pressing the floor away with the forearms, that gives you a really solid foundation for then being able to lift the legs up with control. What happens a lot of the times is that when we get upside down, we panic, and then one leg goes up, then we lose our balance, and then we come down. So stay, be patient, knees tucked in, a few breaths. When you're ready for your next step, you'll lift up into dolphin, walk the feet in, take one knee into the chest and then the other. And then you want to squeeze the legs together as if you had one leg instead of two. Keep them together, keep them really active, and slowly you'll start to stretch the legs up. Now here, remember, the wall is just there. If you need it, it's right there. If it comes to having to place one foot or both to the wall, fine, do that. And practice finding a balance. Maybe one foot at a time comes away from the wall, and eventually maybe the 2 feet meet. Remember that there is little weight into the head. A lot of weight is into the forearms. The shoulders are working actively. And then when you're ready, you'll make your way down. Good. Practice getting outside. Go on the beach, go in your garden, practice falling. When it comes to falling, you'll tuck the chin in and you will roll, literally roll like a little ball. Remember to tuck the chin in, and that will be totally safe. It will be a safe escape. If you're practicing on a hard floor, just be careful. It might be a little bit, not painful, but uncomfortable. If you feel that you have good balance and you're ready to come away from the wall in your space, on your mat, in your studio, great, you can do that. And maybe then at that point you're ready for progressions of the postures, which we'll quickly look at now. So if you're ready for a progression, find your way into your headstand. As you walk the feet in, you might feel that at one point, if your hamstrings are open enough, you press down onto the forearms and the 2 feet can come off the ground at the same time. Now before we're working on taking one knee in and then the other knee in, now we're looking at walking in close enough so that the 2 feet will lift off the ground. And literally with this, you want to push the hips over the shoulders, and you will need that space into the back of the legs. So if it's not there yet, keep stretching. If it's there, then as the feet lift off the ground, with control, you'll lift them all the way up. Keep pressing the forearms down. And once you're here, if you're stable enough, you could start to work more onto your abdomen by lowering the legs into a 90-degree angle. And then lifting them back up. And you can do this as many times as you want. Now this will really get your abdominal wall to start to burn and activate. So maybe start with 3 or 5 repetitions before you make your way down and take a good rest. Another way of exploring how stable you are upside down and challenging your balance is to make different shapes with your legs. So this is what we will try now. Once you have your balance, all of these shapes with the legs will come pretty easily. You've done most of the work. If you can balance without the wall behind you and you can move and float up, it's very likely that you will be able to then find different leg shapes. So you'll find maybe your way up first. Then you can take the soles of the feet to touch, knees out wide. You could also stretch the legs out into a V shape, activating the toes, pressing away with the toes. From here, you could find eagle pose, wrapping the 2 legs together, and then the other way. There are so many different variations that you could do, and you could really have fun here and explore. So playing with your headstand could be really fun, could be a way to keep your practice interesting and to keep working on that upper body strength. Just remember to be safe with it. When you are into your headstand, even though we call it headstand, it's really your forearms and your shoulders that are doing most of the work. The pressure that you have on your head wants to be as little as possible. And in fact, you could imagine that somebody could slide a sheet of paper underneath your head, in between the head and the mat. That's how much pressure there is onto the head. It's very, very little. And once you can do your headstand in that way, you can hold it for 25-30 breaths, because at that point, there is no compression of the cervical spine and it's safe to stay there longer. But as I said, it's a journey, so start step by step. Practice, dedications, and patience will get you there, for sure. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and in the description below you can find the link to my Instagram and to my website.